Public Services International is a global federation made up of 20 million working women and men in 165 countries. And clearly our concern is first and foremost the rights of workers, women and men, but also connecting to the rights of people and the rights of communities to access quality public services. Here in this context where human rights underpin everything, our concern is and has been the withdrawal of government since 30 years, 40 years. We see a gradual but systemic withdrawal, and the specific area that I'm going to talk about is concerning privatization, public-private partnerships, private finance initiatives, outsourcing, deregulation. And what our clear message is in this context is a treaty instrument must be a lot stronger than what we're seeing proposed now. Because the behavior of the corporations once they access public services is quite distorting. Because, I mean, it's no mystery for us, the corporations must maximize profits. They see a number of public services as very, very lucrative areas where often their clients are captive clients. For example, in the water sector, you're not going to have 2 or 3 water networks. You will have one, so there's a monopoly. In energy, there will be oligopoly. In other words, there will be 2 or 3 actors who have a central role. And so we see a whole range of distortions by corporate behavior. So any treaty instrument that is binding must have teeth. Now, for us, the question of whether and how the private sector can deliver public services is extremely contentious. It is the result of a number of false hopes, of exuberant hopes that the market can solve problems, that turning everybody into a consumer frees you to have power and to have decision making about the nature of and the quality of the services you access. Also, an assumption that the market is more efficient, that private actors, that competition forces cutthroat behavior that makes corporations more effective and more efficient agents of delivering public services. All of this is wrapped up in the Washington Consensus. All of it is vehicled by the international financial institutions. A number of you are aware of the concept of structural adjustment. Some of you may even have lived it. We're getting it now in the North under the concept of austerity, whereby you are, as a country, forced to sell off or engage the private sector. So look, for us, the profit maximization in public services is completely unacceptable. For our members, what it means is cutting the cost of labor, outsourcing our jobs, reducing the amount of the workforce to the lowest possible, cutting occupational health and safety protections. So workers regrettably pay a price. They pay a price with their careers, they pay a price with their livelihoods, they pay a price in dignity at work, they often pay a price by being injured or even killed on the job. And we find that many of these are actually preventable incidents that because of the need to maximize profits, corners are cut. I would also ask people to revisit the Special Rapporteur on Education in 2014, who reported the impacts of privatization on jobs, on education. It leads to more inequality. It turns students into consumers. It focuses on the individual, not the collective. So there's a whole range of systemic problems. What are we doing about it? First of all, some of you will have heard of this wave of remunicipalization or renationalizations, where governments are taking back in public hands a number of the services that they thought the private sector could deal with. In your country, when there are privatization proposals, you should join with us in assessing whether it makes sense, and if it doesn't make sense, to oppose the privatization policies. Often these are done in backroom deals, and so we definitely encourage active, engaged citizen participation to strengthen our democracies, because when you have that, you will force your governments to make better choices, choices that are based on the needs of families, of communities, of workers, and not in the interests of whether it be the consulting firms or the law firms that benefit from privatization, or the whole range of corporations that are trying to take over everything from health, water, education, justice and incarceration, migration, detention, energy, you name it. All of these public services are an extremely lucrative market. We also then encourage people to be aware of tax evasion by these companies who get public subsidies and yet avoid their taxes, and the range of trade treaties that are going to lock in through ratchet privatization. I could go on. Anybody who has any questions, I'll be more than happy to entertain any. And after you talk about Glencore, I'll also mention the impact on public services in Chad. Thank you.